Oh, that's Auntie
Talk to
Trey.
me.
I just want to do Auntie shit with my friends. Hey YouTube, it's Auntie Trey, and this is my very first story time. Hopefully you like it. You can comment, you can subscribe to my channel, and you can like this video. That's right? Okay. Hopefully that's it. Okay, so this is about the time I almost went to jail. And actually it was 2 times I almost went to jail. Well, the second time I could have went to jail. But this time that I'm about to tell you about right now, I was at the precinct. Like, I almost went to jail on some mistaken identity type stuff. So, I hope you enjoy it. So, years ago, first of all, I have twin boys. They are grown. But when they were 5 years old, they were starting pre-K. And it was half a day pre-K. So during this time, up until they were old enough to go to school, I was on social services, welfare. I got a welfare check. So if you ever got a welfare check, you know it ain't no enough. That is not enough money to do anything. So I wanted a job. So when they were coming up on there, and I didn't have a really strong support system growing up. So why young mama ain't watching? Anyway. So, well, my mama worked, so she couldn't watch them. She was at work her damn self. So anyway, so they were starting pre-K, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh, the kids is going to school. I'm gonna be able to work. I can work between the hours they are in school. I can put them on the bus, go to work, get home in time to get them off the bus. This will be great. So I'm like, okay, that's the plan. I had got this job, and my job was working for the Board of Education in the school cafeteria. So it was like I was a lunch lady. I was serving mashed potatoes with an ice cream scoop. That was my job. And so what had happened was I got a postcard right before, like a couple of weeks before school started. I got a postcard in the mail. It said the kids' pickup time was gonna be at this time, on bus number this, on the corner of this and that. Great. Their drop-off time was like 12 noon on bus number this, on the corner of this and that. Wait a minute, 12 noon? Why are they being dropped off at 12 noon? They supposed to be dropped off at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I called the number, and I talked to a dispatcher, and she was like, well, what school is it? I told her the school, and it was a good school. It was a magnet school. Like, I wanted them to go to a magnet school. Their names were put into a drawing to go to this school, and their names was drawn to go to this school. So I was glad that they got in this school. It was on a college campus. It was a decent school. So this is where I wanted my boys to go. So I called, like I said, I called the bus terminal, and I'm like, well, why are my kids being dropped off at noon? She said, oh, what school is it? And I told her the school. She said, oh, they have half a day pre-K. Either your kids go in the morning or they go in the afternoon. It looks like your kids got the morning session. I'm like, half a day? No, they can't. I gotta work. They can't go to school half a day. She was like, well, that's what it is, unless you want to transfer them to your neighborhood school. That's full day pre-K. And I didn't live in a good neighborhood, so I did not want my kids going to that neighborhood school. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so upset. I'm about to start crying on the phone with the lady. She's like, oh honey, I hope it works out for you. That's all she had for me. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? So at the time, I was raised by my great grandparents. So my mother's grandparents raised me. My great grandmother had passed. My great grandfather was still alive. This man was in his 80s, but he still got around. Like, he would walk to the grocery store. People in the neighborhood knew him. He was driving up until like a couple years before that, but it got unsafe for him to drive. But everybody knew him. He was still in his right mind at this time. And so I'm like, well, maybe the boys can go over there from noon to like 2:30, 3 o'clock. He'll fix them a snack. They'll watch TV, play in the backyard. I pick them up, go home. Great. asked him, is this okay? He said, yeah, make sure you come get them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not leaving my kids over here forever. So that was the plan. That was the move. Okay. The kids get off. I changed up school bus. I drop them off in the morning. I would go to work. The school bus would drop them off at his house. 11:30, 12 o'clock. They would be there until it was time for me to get off work. 2:30, 3 o'clock. We would go home. That's what it was. One day, I didn't go to work, but the bus still picked them up, and they were going to his house. I was just getting over chicken pox. My grandfather had chicken pox, which he caught from me, from being in the house. So I'm trying to intercept the kids. I'm trying to get to his house and intercept the kids before they go in the house with him, so they don't catch the chicken pox. Mind you, I'm doing all of this on the bus. I did not have a car at this time. I'm doing all this on the bus. So I had the bright idea. This is the best idea I ever had.
And that's when it hit me. The best idea I ever had in my entire life. That's the worst idea you ever had in your entire life.
I'm going to walk to his house, to Papa's house, get the kids. I didn't have money to get on the bus. I don't know if I said that or not. I'm going to walk to Papa's house, get the kids, and then catch the bus home. That's the move. So I said, okay, here I go. I'm going to walk. Let me leave early so I can get there in enough time to intercept them. They don't even have to go in the house with him, so they won't catch the chicken pox. Bright idea, right? So I started walking, and I got maybe, I'm going to say 12 blocks from where I live. My grandfather lived about 2 miles away from me. And this wasn't like country miles. We live in the city. We lived in the city. So I get about, like I say, 10, 12 blocks from my house. This car comes speeding past me, crosses the street and pulls up in the street in front of me as I'm about to cross. There's people all outside. 4 doors jump out. 4 dudes run out, jump out. They take off running in 4 different directions. A car comes up behind them. A silver BMW. I will never forget this. A silver BMW. I was like, oh shit, police chase. I'm like, not thinking, no, police don't drive undercover BMWs, but okay. Police chase. And he was like, you want to run up in people's houses? Now I'm thinking he's telling the bystanders, people outside, to get inside. You want to run up in people's houses? Bitch, you don't know who you're fucking with. He pointed a gun at me. At me. I'm like, me? Bitch, you don't know who you're fucking with. You want to run up in people's houses? He pointed the jammy at me. I was like, oh shit. So he pulled off. You don't know who I am. He's an Italian guy. You don't know who I am. So I'm like, oh my God, this man just pulled the gun out on me. Are you serious? So, you know, I'm crying and stuff as I'm walking. I'm scared. I'm like, what if he come back? So I get to this street where it was a lot of traffic. It was a busy area. It was stores. It was people selling stuff out on the street. And I'm crying. And they knew me from the neighborhood. Like, they knew my face from the neighborhood. And there was a lot of older black guys out there. What's wrong, sugar? What's wrong? I said, I need to use somebody's phone. I need to call a cab so I can catch a cab to my grandfather's house. Catch a cab to my grandfather's house. My grandfather will pay for it. My thoughts was get off the street before this crazy white man come back and kill me dead. So, and I'm still not connecting. He thought I was with those guys. The guys that he was chasing. I'm still not putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, this crazy man trying to kill me. Like, he just picked me out of a crowd. So they're like, well, what happened? I said, he pulled the gun out on me. Oh, baby, you don't need a cab. You need the police. It was the best idea of their fucking life, right? So they call the police. They call 911. The police come up. They come inside. I tell them what happened. They were like, okay, well, come with us. Come down to the station and make a statement. I'm like, okay. This is when I trusted the police. Okay, Mr. and Miss Officer. It was a white cop and a black lady cop. It was a white male and a black female. Okay. The police gonna keep me safe. So I go down to the station And they were like, well, yeah, that guy. No, they didn't take me to the station. While I'm in the car, they're telling me, yeah, well, that guy says you and your homies tried to break in his house and you were driving the getaway car. Me? Again? Me? I was driving the getaway car? At this time, I didn't even know how to drive. I didn't learn how to drive until like 1997. This was like in 1995. I physically did not know how to drive. Barely knew the brake from the gas. Did not know how to drive. Period. I was like, I don't even know how to drive. Yeah, they said it was you. They said it was you. Took me to the dude's house. He came over. He looked in the car, and at the time, like, I had my hair up, and I had just a Scully on, and it was a Polo Scully. It was a, bootleg. You buy it off the corner for $5. It was a Polo Scully. And he was like, yeah, that's her. She was driving. How did I end up in this? Me again? Me? I don't even know how to drive. So they take me back to the police station. And so this was a damn mess. I was so damn scared. I'm like, people go to jail for shit they didn't do all the time. So I'm sitting there, and it's like a lieutenant there, and he's typing, and I remember he was typing like this. He didn't know how to, type it. He was whatever he was typing, and I kept asking him a question. I'm like, well, what is this? Can I use the phone? I need to call somebody. And I didn't really, only person I really had to call was my cousin. And she wasn't answering. She was asleep. I did call another person who I consider a friend. I still consider a friend. She was a social worker. And I called her. She wasn't at work that day. What? That was it. Like, that was all I had. So the lieutenant, the one that was typing like this, he was like, so they're gonna fingerprint the car. I was like, okay, I don't know how to drive. So they ran my name and stuff. Seeing I didn't have a license. Just because you don't have a license doesn't mean you can't drive. I don't know how. Like, I physically don't know how to put the car in drive. At this point in my life, and I had to be in my early 20s, I had to be about 22. I don't know how to drive a car. I don't know how. I've seen it done. I don't know how to drive. So they ended up, I was there for a couple hours, and they made me feel like I was going to be arrested. Like, I was going to jail. They never fingerprinted me. They never put handcuffs on me. I'm telling the police, he pointed a gun at me. They're like, no, he said he had pepper spray. That motherfucker lying. He had a gun. He pointed a gun at me. And the black female cop, at first she was just like, really like, yeah. Well, he said he was there with his wife was there with his twins, and y'all was trying to break in his house. I'm trying to walk to go get my twins. I'm just getting over the chicken pox. I'm a girl. I don't do stuff like that. I'm like, I'm a girl. I don't do stuff like that. I don't break the law, breaking people's houses. That shit is dangerous. Oh, it's getting hot in here. I can't risk my life for no bullshit. So after a while, the black female cop, she was like, well, they didn't have enough to hold me. I'm saying it's not me. He's saying it is. People in the neighborhood was saying that it wasn't me. I was like, you could go to the store. I just bought this pack of gum in the store. Like, I was really scared. I was so scared. Like, people go to jail all the time. I was terrified. So after a while, they let me go. They didn't have enough evidence to hold me. And the black female cop, she took me to my grandfather's house where my boys were. By this time, they done got off the bus and got exposed to the chicken pox, because I was telling them, I'm like, I'm trying to get to my grandfather's house before my kids get the chicken pox from my grandfather. And they took me home. They took me to my granddad's house. And I was just like, I almost went to jail behind some bullshit. Because this man think all black people look alike, basically. It was scary. It was so scary. After that, I got the boys. I went home. That night, I'm in the house by myself, me and my two boys. somebody ringing my doorbell. It had to be after midnight. I looked out, it was a white man. I was like, ah! He back! But it wasn't him. He was looking for somebody. He came to the wrong house. But yeah, it was very scary. I was scared. I was scared to death. Like, I'm like, I can't go to jail. Like, I legit haven't done anything. All I'm doing is walking down the street. And y'all trying to hem me up behind this BS, man. Yeah, but I hope y'all enjoyed this story. I can laugh about it now, but back then, baby, I was in tears. I had finally got in touch with my friend that was a social worker. I told her what happened. She called and she read them the fucking riot act. She was like, she is a young single mother. Y'all profiling her because she's black. And she said that they told her, well, his wife was in there alone with their twins. And her name, I'm gonna say her name, Antoinette, was like, and Tracy was trying to go get her twins. Like, she really stood up for me, and I appreciate her so much. Me and her kind of sort of lost contact after I moved and stuff, but she, she stood up for me and she had my back. But yeah, that shit was scary, man. You ain't did nothing. You ain't did a damn thing. All you did was leave the house and go buy some gum trying to go get your kids. And now you got the police. First of all, you got this man with a gun in your face telling you you don't know who the fuck I am. I don't, sir. I don't know you at all. I don't even know why we having this conversation. You right. And then you got the police. This shit was some scary shit. But like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed this story time. That was one of many. My life back then, my younger years, was crazy because I didn't make the best decisions. Even though this one wasn't my fault. But I didn't make a lot of good decisions back then growing up. And hopefully my story times can help somebody and be like, oh, well, Auntie Trey did this when she was in her 20s. I probably shouldn't do that, but anyway, I hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a good one. Bye.